Hello friends, how are you? Hope you are doing well. So today's discussion about the environmental management. So let us discuss the question and answers related to the environmental management which can be helpful to you to prepare for your interviews. Let's start the discussion. What is the meaning of environment? So meaning of environment is all the physical surroundings on the earth are called environment, and the environment includes everything living and everything non-living. So we can say people, animals, plants, and all other living things rely on the non-living parts of the environment to survive actually. Next definition is about what is the meaning of environmental management. Environmental management can be defined as a system which incorporate processes for summarizing, monitoring, reporting, developing and executing the environmental policies, and the aim of encouraging the environmental management is to ensure the healthy state of our planet for the future generations. So when we think about the environmental management, we can consider certain factors related to the environmental and social contributions, environmental risk management, environmental business management, environmental protection as well. Then we think about next question, what is the meaning of environmental management system? So environmental management system is a set of process and practices which is enabling any organization to reduce its environmental impacts and increasing its operating efficiency. So having an effective environmental management system which is helping the businesses and the organizations to reduce their impact on environment as well as improving health and safety for both employees as well as the communities, and with an increased focus on energy efficiency and waste management, any environmental management system can also help the companies to improve their operating efficiency, which can reduce the different sort of costs. So when we think about the environmental management system, there are certain components associated with this. Among them, leadership, planning, support, operations, performance evaluation and improvement. So these are some key focused factors for environmental management system. Next is about what is the meaning of environmental aspect. So environmental aspect is an element of any organization activities or products or services which can interact with the environment. So these can include like discharges to water, emissions to air, waste and use of natural resources and materials. So these are called as environmental aspects. Next is about what is the meaning of environmental impact. Environmental impact is referring to direct impact or direct effect of socio-economic activities and the natural events on the components of the environment. So major current environmental impacts may include the climate change, pollutions, environmental degradations, resource depletions. So the conservation movement which can lobby for protection of endangered species and protection of any ecological valuable natural areas, and we can say genetically modified foods and global warming as well. So there are major impacts which are nowadays like climate change, pollution and environmental degradation and natural resource depletions. Next is about what is the meaning of environmental impact assessment. So environmental impact assessment is a kind of process for evaluating the likely environmental impacts of any proposed project or the development while considering or taking into account the interrelated socio-economic, cultural and human health impacts, both beneficial and adverse. So the aim of environmental impact assessment is to protect the environment by ensuring that a local planning authority, when deciding whether to grant planning permission for any project or not, so which is likely to have significant effects on the environment, and we can say it does so in the full knowledge of the likely significant effects and takes into the account in the decision making process as well. So while we consider the environmental aspect and impact assessment, we definitely consider the input and process output diagram, right? So where we can come to know different type of environmental aspects and impacts associated with different business functions and the business operations actually. Next is about what is the meaning of environmental management framework. So environmental management framework is a kind of structured way or framework that is helping any organizations to achieve its environmental goals through consistent review, evaluations and improvement of its environmental performance. Now, what is the meaning of environmental management plan? So environmental management plan describing how an action might impact on the natural environment in which it is occurring and setting out clear commitments from the person taking the action actually. So, and we can say on how those impacts will be avoided and minimized and managed so that environmentally acceptable is. So to develop any environmental management plan, first of all we need to define the organizational EMS goals, objectives, building an EMS implementation team, competent team, conduct preliminary review of baseline studies, preparing budget and schedules, going for cost benefit analysis as well, assigning the resources, human resource, financial resource, technical resources and the assistance as well from the experts or the consultants, involving the staff, employees, the stakeholders, setting up the regular team meetings and monitoring and communicating the progress. So this is how we develop any environmental management plan, considering the environmental management system requirements as well, to have the environmental policy, then go for planning, implementation, checking and corrective actions and management review actually. Next is about what is the meaning of environmental leadership. Environmental leaders must possess not only an internal focus on matters like waste, pollution, resource management and any efficiency part, but also an external focus which we can say perceiving and responding to a wide range of factors which can safeguard the rights and safety of the communities as well and the environment as well where they are inhabiting actually. Then next is about what is the importance of environmental risk management. So all businesses must manage the risks their activities may pose to human health and the environment from pollution or the waste. Managing these risks in a structured way can help the businesses to better identify, assess and control the risks that could impact the air, land, water, groundwater as well as the harm caused by the noise as well. Next is about what is the importance of natural resources in the environmental management. So natural resources provide fundamental life support in the form of both consumptive and public good services. So ecological processes maintain soil productivity, nutrients recycling, cleansing of the air and water and climatic cycles as well. So while we are discussing the cycle, let us start with the what is the carbon cycle. So carbon cycle is a geochemical process or geochemical cycle by which carbon is exchanged among the biosphere, pedosphere, geosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere of the earth. So we can say along with the nitrogen cycle and the water cycle, the carbon cycle comprises a sequence of events. Those are the key to make earth capable of sustaining the life. So there are 6 different processes in the carbon cycle called photosynthesis, respiration, exchange, sedimentation, extraction and combustions. So most of these deal with carbon in the form of CO2 only. Next is about how does the carbon cycle affect the climate. So carbon cycle plays a very important role or key role in regulating the Earth's global temperature and climate by controlling the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So carbon dioxide is an important greenhouse gas because it helps the Earth's atmosphere to retain the heat generated from the sun actually. So next is about what is the nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen cycle is again a biogeochemical cycle which is we can say where nitrogen is being converted into multiple chemical forms as it circulates among atmosphere, terrestrial and marine ecosystem, and the conversion of nitrogen can be carried out through both biological and physical processes actually. Next is about how does the nitrogen cycle affect the climate change. So nitrogen emissions such as ammonia, nitrogen oxide, nitrous oxide contributing to particulate matter and acid rain. So So nitrous oxide is a particularly potent greenhouse gas, as it is over 300 times more effective at trapping the heat in the atmosphere than carbon dioxide. So excess nitrogen in the atmosphere can produce pollutants such as ammonia and ozone, which can impair our ability to breathe, limiting the visibility and altering the plant growth. So when excess nitrogen comes back to the earth from the atmosphere, it can harm the health of the forests, soil and the waterways as well. Next is about what is the phosphorus cycle. Phosphorus cycle is also a biogeochemical cycle that is describing the movement of the phosphorus through the lithosphere, hydrosphere and biosphere. So low concentration of phosphorus in soils can reduce the plant growth and slows the soil microbial growth actually. And we can think about the soil microbial biomass also can be affected because of this. Next is about how does the phosphorus cycle is affecting the climate change. So humans have had a significant impact on the phosphorus cycle due to a variety of human activities such as use of fertilizers, the distribution of the food products and the artificial eutrophication. So we can say human activities serve to harm aquatic ecosystems whenever excess amount of phosphorus are leached into the water. So phosphorus has no direct effects on the climate but does have indirect effects such as increasing carbon sinks by fertilizing plants, and it can reduce the growth of the plant and stimulate the leaching of soil nutrients needed by the plants as well. Next is about what is the water cycle or hydrological cycle. Water cycle describing movement of the water on the surface of the earth, and it's a continuous process that includes 6 different steps like evaporation, transpiration, condensation, precipitation, runoffs and percolations as well. So the hydrological cycle of the earth is the sum of all these processes in which water moves from land and ocean surface to the atmosphere and back in the precipitation as well. Now, how does the water cycle affect the climate? So changes in the water cycle affect the water availability, hence the livelihoods as well. And flooding is a hazard to which people living on small islands and low-lying or coastal regions are particularly susceptible to this. So thank you very much friends for now, and we'll continue our discussion from the next set of questions. Thank you.